The Pig Cult by the Asag Covenant and Adam Sample. Part 1. Covered in filth, I awoke in a musty, decrepit basement, my hands and legs bound. It wasn't the fog that rainy day that made me think twice about the route, but the surreal feeling I had when I'd passed all the abandoned and run-down houses that made up the area. I knew something was off. Damn it, I just knew something was off. There were stories about those woods, but I wanted to get home as fast as possible. I hadn't seen my boyfriend in 6 months, and being held in his arms again was the only thought on my mind. I knew I'd made a mistake when I decided to take that damned shortcut through the woods on my way home from college during spring break. Going through those damned woods was a huge mistake. I saw that now. A man with a mutilated face ripped off my gag and set me upright. The disgusting bastard had 1 strand of hair, 1 glass eye, 1 front tooth, and breath that smelled like butt crack. I watched in horror as the inbred fiend poured pig urine into a wine glass directly from the source. It was almost as if he were milking this massive, shit-covered pig like a cow. My terror set in when the blood-covered psycho limped toward me with the glass filled with a vile yellow liquid. "Drink!" he screamed, spitting in my face. I couldn't believe this was happening. This couldn't be happening. "Drink it! Drink it! Drink it!" he shouted repeatedly. The butt crack breath hit me harder than a punch to the jaw. I didn't know what was worse, sitting here smelling this psycho's breath, or being forced to drink pig piss. "Leave her alone, my son," said a woman in a black robe standing near the exit door. "Before our Lord, the Almighty Hog, may our sacrifices destroy those who would do us harm and bless us with good fortune and riches," she said. The mutilated man knelt, placed the glass of piss next to me, and came within an inch of my face. "You smell," he sniffed. "Not pure." He then stuck his pus-covered green tongue out and began licking my face. With my hands and feet chained to the concrete floor, I was helpless to stop him. Yeah, he said, licking me from my chin to my forehead. I wanted to die as his saliva entered my nostrils. I contemplated just opening my mouth and biting his disgusting tongue off. This was a torture I'd never dared to fathom. "Candy, candy, candy," he said with slurred speech. The grotesque fucker held my head and dug his tongue deep into my right nostril. Then, while I tried to stop myself from vomiting, I watched as his one functioning eye rolled into the back of his head. "I want to taste the brain," he mumbled as his spit dripped onto my lips. I thrashed about, kicking and screaming. "Bartholomew, cease! Now!" screamed a man from the doorway. The sick bastard released my head and slowly withdrew his tongue from my nose. A long saliva strand attached itself from my nostril to his pus-coated mouth. The man, wearing the same black robe as the woman, approached us and grabbed the glass of piss, then presented it to me. "I must apologize for Bart. He can get a little bit excited when it comes to fresh meat," the man said. I blew the rest of the spit from my nose while gagging. "You people are a bunch of freaking psychos! Let me go!" I bellowed. Shh, my little princess. All will be revealed soon," he said soothingly. "Screw you, you sick bastard! My family will come looking for me! Just let me go!" I screamed. The 3 of them laughed.
I'm afraid if they haven't found you by now, they never will,
he said, before putting the vile glass of urine off to the side on the floor. What do you mean? Tears fell down my cheeks. You've been here for quite some time, Zuri Hassan, the woman said. I gazed at them as my heart filled with rage. How long?
7 months,
said the mutilated one. He licked his lips as he said it, which threw me into a world of disgust and sorrow. What? 7 months? How is that possible? I thrashed about, tugging on my chains.
We've kept you in a drug-induced coma for months,
the man laughed.
We had to feed you intravenously. The almighty hog dictates that all fresh meat must be curated for the sacrifice, and must be willing to give themselves up for his glory. It took us months to select the others. There aren't many people willing to travel through our woods.
I surveyed the area as terror crippled my senses. There's no one here but us. Don't worry, little princess. You'll see the others soon enough, the woman said, smiling, revealing her rotting black teeth. If I had been here for over half a year, my family must have gone through hell when I didn't show up. Spring break was long over, as was summer break. I'd missed so much. It was as if my soul had been kicked from my body. My parents probably thought I was dead. And my boyfriend? I didn't even want to think about it. Pulling on my chains, I jerked my body around, screaming for freedom. The woman approached me and petted my head gently. It's okay, Zuri. You'll be all right. The almighty hog, our god, has brought you here for a reason. Our Lord works in enigmatic ways. He, the boar god, has bestowed upon us the power to repel all those who shun our ways. He has given us our bounty and blessed us with good fortune, and we, in turn, provide the boar with a ritualistic sacrifice. It has been this way for thousands of years. You will become a part of history, little princess. That is an honor you should be grateful for, she exclaimed. Fuck you and fuck your crazy-ass cult! Let me the hell go! I screamed. The man moved the woman aside and petted my head the same way she had.
You need to calm yourself. We'll loosen your restraints, of course. Whether or not you stay bound is up to you, the man said.
What the hell are you talking about? The man took the glass of pig piss in his hands again and put it right up to my face.
Drink, and you can be free of your chains.
My eyes widened in horror. I'm not drinking that! Get it the hell away from me! I screamed. The man and the woman gazed at the mutilated one and smiled.
Your organs must be purified by God's nectar before the ritual can begin. If you don't willingly drink our sacrament, well then, Bartholomew here will get a chance to taste your brain,
the man said, laughing. I shivered to my very core, gazing at the deformed fiend as he jumped up and down like a joyful, deranged psychopath, licking his lips and clapping. I wanted to bite down on my tongue and kill myself right then, but I couldn't. I needed to stay alive for my family's sake. Which will it be, Zuri? Our sacrament or Bart? Asked the woman. The man held the glass up to my lips, grinning gleefully. No! Get that away from me!
Open up, little princess,
the man said. The mutilated one took hold of my jaw, then forced my mouth open while shoving his tongue in my ear. "Drink up!" shouted the woman with excitement. "No! Stop it! No!" Part 2. Days of being force-fed raw pig flesh made me want to vomit at the very sight of food. I never thought I'd have to endure such torment in all my life. I'd always considered myself a peaceful person, and never would I wish harm on anyone. But these people, I wanted to kill them all.
"Bathe in blood! Bathe in blood!"
repeated Bart, clapping his feces-covered hands together. I had been stripped nude a few hours ago for what I assumed was a bath or something to clean me off. I'd been here for almost a year, and never once had these crazy people bathed me. I smelled just as bad as the rotten pig meat they'd been feeding me. I hoped they'd at least hose me down.
"Cleanse the Zuri!"
shouted Bart with a slur. Every day since I'd been conscious in this place, that deformed bastard Bart would stick his tongue somewhere in an opening on my face. He would be the first I'd kill if I ever made it out of these damn chains.
"We're going to cleanse you, Zuri! We have to cleanse the Zuri!"
he said. While disgusted by his actions, I realized that this mutilated brick had the mental capacity of a child. But unfortunately, that still didn't make up for his sadistic behavior. "The ethereal moons are almost aligned. The time for the ritual is upon us," said the woman, entering the dark basement I was being kept in. I was so exhausted that I could barely function, let alone scream. I'd been shouting fruitlessly ever since I grasped my situation. Screaming was useless, as were my attempts to break out of these chains. "Do you know what it is to be purified?" asked the woman. With my head lowered, I slowly gazed up at her. I could feel the dried pig blood all over my face and mouth. If they were going to hose me down, I wished they'd hurry up with it. "Do you know what it is to be purified, little princess?" she asked again. Go fuck yourself," I said, panting. To be purified takes great commitment and dedication to the ways of the Hog. Before the Almighty Hog, we are forgiven and bathed in riches. Do you understand what I'm saying, my child? Just do what you're gonna do. I don't have the energy to answer your sick questions, I said defiantly. First, you must be cleansed with the blood from a girl born of the impure before you can be washed of your demons. What are you saying? I asked.
She's saying that your sacrifice begets the sacrifice of another, said the man, walking into the room with a little girl by his side. She couldn't have been more than 12 years old. What was a girl that young even doing in these woods? This girl is a sinner who wishes to be purified. She wasn't but 3 years old when her parents abandoned her. We found her. We kept her safe. We fed her, clothed her, and gave her everything she ever needed. And yet, still, she sinned against the Hog, and must now be purified, he said. I gazed at the girl closely. I recognized her from all the flyers and internet postings from my hometown. Her name was Sarah Limpkin.
The girl who'd been abducted from her home when she was a baby. These bastards! I have sinned against our Lord, the celestial boar, the omnipotent and almighty hog. I am ready to be purified, Father, the girl said. A burst of energy shot through my spine, forcing me to sit upright. These assholes had kidnapped this girl and brainwashed her. I'd known her parents since I was a child. I even attended her mother's baby shower when she was pregnant. The whole town had been devastated when Sarah disappeared. And they'd had her all along. Listen to me, Sarah. They're not your parents. They abducted you from your birth parents when you were a baby. You don't have to listen to them. Run away. Run away from here and get help. These people are insane. I cried heavy-heartedly. The girl gazed at the man, confused. Who's Sarah? She asked him.
Sarah is just another girl who died long ago. You needn't concern yourself with her, he said.
Don't listen to him! You're Sarah. That's your name. Your parents have been searching for you for almost a decade. These people took you from them. You have to believe me. I only believe in the will of the hog. The almighty hog will guide me to the light, she said. Damn it, Sarah. Enough, said the woman. Do not pollute our daughter's ears with your lies. Her birth parents are dead. She knows the story well. They died of a drug overdose shortly after they abandoned her. So now, Zuri, the blood she sheds today will cleanse you. What? I asked in disbelief. As we explained before, you must be bathed in sin before being purified for the ritual. Our daughter, Morsilla, has sinned. Therefore, she must be purified through death. Are you ready, Morsilla? Yes, Mother. I'm ready to be forgiven for my sins, said the girl. No! You can't do this! I screamed, trying to pull my feet out from these damned chains. The girl approached me with a cold gaze in her eyes. These psychopaths had utterly brainwashed her. The mutilated Bart, who had left for a brief moment, returned with a giant live pig in his arms.
We cleanse you, Zuri! We cleanse you!
He exclaimed. Stop it! Damn you, stop this! What was her sin that she should deserve this? I shouted. She was born of the impure. That alone is reason enough, said the woman. The girl held her arms outward and lifted her head toward the sky. The man creeped up behind her with a large machete. In the name of the almighty hog, I am forgiven, the girl said. Amen, whispered the woman. No! I screamed as the man swung the machete into the girl's neck, cutting her head clean off. Blood splashed all over me. I lay there in shock. The girl's head had landed right in my lap, with her dead eyes facing me. I stared at the head in horror. The woman took hold of the girl's corpse, then shook it above me so more blood could spill onto my body.
We cleanse you! We cleanse you!
Bart continued to shout. I sat there, covered in blood, still staring into the eyes of this innocent little girl. Every hateful emotion I could fathom bubbled in my gut. I couldn't rest until each of them was dead.
Yes, she is bathed in sin. Allow the purification to begin,
shouted the man. Bart cut the pig's stomach open, causing its blood and intestines to pour on top of me.
Let the righteous live on. Allow the sinners to perish,
said the man. The woman was still shaking the girl's body above me, draining her of all blood while chanting. I entered a state of shock. I couldn't break eye contact with the girl's severed head, no matter how hard I tried. She seemed to be staring into my soul. Finally, the woman threw the girl's body to the floor and dropped to her knees.
Lord of all, the most highest hog, she is now cleansed of sin. Let the second rite of the ritual begin.
Ah! I screamed before all the lights in the room cut off. Part 3.
Get in there, you filth!
Exclaimed the man, tugging a bound teenage boy behind him. He threw the boy to the floor and slammed the exit door shut. The boy was in a straitjacket, blindfolded, and a blood-stained pigskin gag covered his mouth. It had been 3 days since these pig-worshipping inbred fanatics murdered that poor little girl in front of me. I was still covered in her blood and the intestines of the pig they'd cut open above my head. Slowly, it felt as if I was losing my sanity. If these psychotic fuckers planned to do the same thing to this boy as they'd done to Sarah, I would bite down my tongue and end my suffering. I wouldn't be able to take another episode of that type of horror. The boy sat up and screamed through his sealed mouth, muffled and desperate. I couldn't bring myself to voice my presence to him. The trauma of what happened with Sarah weighed on me. I didn't want to get to know this boy, only for them to kill him right in front of me. They refused to feed me regular food after their bloody ritual. I'd been surviving on raw, rotting pig flesh and urine for the last few days. No one could comprehend the level of depravity a person would endure just to survive. After each meal, I'd vomit it back up. The grotesque knowledge of eating rotten pig cuts wouldn't allow me to keep it down. I'd become skin and bones, on the brink of dying of starvation. The day they'd murdered Sarah, a piece of my soul had gone with her. And when the lights had gone out, I believed it was a sign from God, and that He was coming to save me. But of course, that was all bullshit. These disgusting killers attributed the power outage to their pig deity. I didn't know what caused the blackout, but one thing was for sure. There would be no divine intervention in this scenario. The only person I could rely on for survival was me.
You mate with him, Zuri! You mate with him!
Shouted Bart from the other side of the door. He burst into the room with a freakish smile on his mutilated face, holding Sarah's severed head. The fiend repeatedly tossed it up into the air as if it were a basketball.
You mate! You mate!
He shouted. The boy began jerking his body in every direction to free himself. I stared at the head Bart was playing with, wide-eyed. That sick son of a bitch. Bart is right, my dear Zuri, said the woman. The second rite of the ritual has begun. You have lain in the purity of the hog for 3 days, just as prophesied. Finally, you are ready for impregnation. Zuri, you will give birth to the reincarnation of the almighty hog, the woman exclaimed with pride. Bart threw Sarah's head into my lap, ran to the boy, ripped the pigskin gag from his mouth, and forced him to drink a glass of cloudy water. Sarah's head had begun to rot, and it smelled of death itself, with a greenish-gray hue around her once delicate, innocent eyes. I needed this hellish nightmare to end.
"Where the hell am I? Who are you people?"
bellowed the boy. Bart jumped up and down, clapping his hands gleefully.
"We inject you,"
he said. Bart removed the straitjacket, but the boy's arms were chained around his body. We all saw it, a giant yellow boil protruding from the boy's shoulder. It looked as if it could pop at any moment.
"What the hell is that? What did you do to me?"
the boy cried out.
"We inject you!"
howled Bart. What he's trying to say is that we've been injecting you with the nectar of the almighty hog for weeks. You are ripe. You are ready, said the woman. The hog's nectar? You injected him with pig piss! I shrieked in disgust.
"Not only the arm, but the gonads too!"
Bart shouted joyfully. Upon realizing what Bart had said, the boy threw up all over himself.
Is that why it hurts so much down there?"
Tears seeped from his fraught eyes.
"All we do is for the good of the hog. You and Zuri together will be praised for your efforts and sacrifice,"
the man said, entering the room.
"We show you!"
said Bart, removing the boy's pants. A vision of nauseating sickness I never could have imagined flashed before my eyes. His balls were swollen and yellow. I couldn't believe what they'd done. And now, my dear Zuri, you will be impregnated by the glory of the hog's nectar. I shook my head without blinking. No. No. No, 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 no! I screamed amid a psychotic break. Sticking out my tongue, I prepared to bite down and end it all. But before I could, Bart shoved his brown, feces-covered fingers into my mouth.
"You must live,"
he said. I continued to bite down as hard as possible until I felt the mutilated bastard's fingers fall freely from my mouth. I'd bitten off his middle and index finger.
"Ugh!"
exclaimed Bart, jumping high into the air.
"You bitch!"
he roared as he readied to slap me across the face.
"Bartholomew, no!"
The man pulled the fiend away from me. He picked up Bart's fingers from the floor and placed them in his other hands.
"Go to your sister and get this sewed up. Your mother and I will take care of this. The second rite of the ritual must go on,"
he said. Bart, crying and whimpering, left the room. The woman approached me and pulled down my pants. Today is that boy's 19th birthday. The hog foretold unto us that today would be the day, Zuri. This is providence. The almighty hog said that the girl must soak in the divine riches of the hog for 3 days. And on that 3rd day, she must be impregnated by a boy on his 19th birthday. Everything has aligned perfectly. It's time for you to get pregnant. She shoved a white cloth into my mouth and tied it around my head to keep me from biting my tongue.
"He's ready. The boy is ready. The water we gave you had Viagra in it. This is truly a day of days," the man said.
The boy struggled to get free as the man hoisted him onto his feet.
"No, fuck you! Fuck you, you sick inbred freaks!"
the boy yelled. The woman removed my panties and held my legs open. Our God will come forth from this vessel. You should be proud, she said to me. The boy and I locked eyes. I could see the desperation on his face. It matched my own. "Enter her. Enter her," the woman said seductively. Bart came back with his right hand bandaged.
"I help,"
he said. The man and Bart took hold of the boy and forced him down until he was lying on top of me. "Do it! Do it!" the woman shouted. The moment he entered me, I fainted, having heard nothing but the boy's screams, accompanied by the trio's sadistic laughter. Please, God, just let me die. Part 4. It had been 3 months since I was forced against my will. That day was something I never wanted to experience again. Since then, they'd been covering my body in pig intestines twice a week without bathing me. Them smearing that pig crap over me was how I kept track of the days. Bart said it was to lubricate the birth of their god. My mental health was at its limit, and all I wanted to do was die. Nothing could erase what these sick people have done to me. The boy they forced on me had killed himself right in front of me a few days later. He'd strangled himself with the chains. When the pain of the pig urine they'd injected in him became too much to bear, he ended it. His body lay there for days, until that Bart creature came down to cover me in pig cuts and discovered him. I would have killed myself too if these deranged bastards hadn't chained my legs and arms to the floor and put a gag in my mouth. The call of sweet death was preferable to living in this hell any further. Just a few more nights, and the almighty Hog will enter this world, slaying all those who reject our way, said the woman from the hallway. "Let me go! Where is my daughter?" shouted a familiar voice. My heart sank. It couldn't be. It just couldn't.
"We can't allow you to interfere with the coming of the Hog. Why couldn't you just give up, huh?"
the man said. The door swung open, having been kicked by Bart. On his right shoulder was a woman I never thought I'd see again. How had they caught her?
"Now, you will suffer a fate worse than death,"
said the man. Bart threw the woman onto the floor as I gazed at her, teary-eyed. "You sick fucks! Where is my—" the woman began, and then she laid eyes on me. "Zuri!" she exclaimed. Was I dreaming? This couldn't be. Mom, how did they... I mumbled through the pig-skinned gag. "Zuri! You're alive!" she yelled. Bart dragged my mother by her hair and chained her to the opposite end of the room. The man lifted my head and removed my gag with a gloating grin. "Mom, how did they catch you?" I asked through tears. "This sinful creature you call a mother wouldn't give up. She searched our woods for months looking for you. Even after everyone in your town had given up hope, she would still search. Her determination in finding you is quite annoying," said the woman.
"She got too close,
said Bart, tightening my mother's chains. The nightmare I was living had just become far worse than anything I'd imagined. I no longer cared for my life, but But the life of my mother... This couldn't be happening. Not like this.
You will witness your daughter give birth to the Almighty Hog. And you will be its first human sacrifice. He will feast on your flesh and pick his teeth with your bones,
said the man. I kicked my feet. No! Just let her go! Take me! You don't need her! Please, just let her be! I cried.
My dear vessel, we already have you. And now we've got her. The moon and stars truly are aligned. There's no need for us to go into town and kidnap someone for the first sacrifice anymore. Your mother will do just fine,
said the man. My soul was awash with despair as I stared into my mother's eyes, utterly helpless. Zuri, you've been here this whole time? Yes. They abducted me on my way home from school during spring break. I don't know how long I've been here. Maybe a year. I knew you were alive, Zuri. No one believed me, but I knew. There's no way you'd run away from home and school. I know my daughter. How did they capture you? I asked.
With a bang!
Shouted Bart, slapping his hands together. My mother flinched. I could tell she was horrified by what was happening, particularly with the way I appeared, chained to the floor and covered in pig filth. I was searching for you, Zuri. In my desperation, I began looking in the one place no one thought to look, these damned woods. As I was searching, I stumbled on this large cave when I was ambushed by these people. It happened so fast. One moment I was walking into the cave with my flashlight, and the next I had a bag over my head. This feces-covered brute damn near strangled me to death, she said.
She got too close. No one can discover us. Not yet. Not until our god comes, said Bart.
The woman slapped my mother across the face. Now, you will watch when the almighty hog emerges from your body and devours your impure mother to satisfy his insatiable hunger. The hog will grind your mother's bones between his teeth. This is your doing, lady. Remember that, said the woman, slapping my mother again. You people are freaking batshit, bellowed my mother. All non-believers will perish, said the woman. My mother shook her head in disgust. Listen to me, Zuri. We are going to get out of here. Trust me, they're going to find us, she said with confidence.
No way out! No way out!
Shrieked Bart, clapping his hands like a giddy schoolgirl. Before I could reply with words of hopelessness, the lights went out again.
Police! Open up now!
Someone shouted from upstairs. My heart almost exploded in my chest. I'm thankful that one person in our local police department believed me. When you idiots destroyed my phone, you stopped the tracker my cousin Ollie helped me install at the police department. You just fucked with the wrong family, yelled my mother. Wait, Ollie made it through the academy? I asked her. Yes, Zuri. He's on the force now. He persuaded a detective to help me. I knew you'd been kidnapped. Something in my gut told me so. That's why I had the tracker installed on my phone. And thank God I did, she said. After all this time, the thought of being saved made my heart jump with hope. Damn it! Not before the coming of the almighty hog, screamed the woman.
There's nowhere to go. We have your sister in custody. Come out with your hands in plain view, now, the police shouted.
I cried tears of joy I never thought I'd escape this nightmare. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, God. The man knelt before me and put a knife to my face.
The only God is the Almighty Hog,
he said, slicing my cheek. I'll see you all rot in prison for what you've done to me, I screamed happily.
We're sending in SWAT,
shouted the police. We heard them trying to break the door down as the inbred trio clutched hands.
We pray to the Almighty Hog, come forth.
This is our bounty to you. We surrender ourselves to you. Enter this world so we can bring forth your glory. They chanted. Give it up! You're finished! There's no pig god, you psychopaths! You're delusional and... I cried out. I looked down, and my belly had suddenly ballooned to the size of a basketball. The lights in the room flickered, followed by a stiff gust of wind that blew all around us. A large red aura emanated from my stomach, coupled with unbearable pain. The light from my belly soon engulfed the room. My mother looked on in dismay as the man, the woman, and their deranged son fell to their knees, continuing their chant. What's happened to me? I exclaimed. The Hog, the Almighty Hog has come forth. He has heard our prayers. Death to all non-believers, screamed the woman. This couldn't be real. This wasn't real. I gazed at my stomach, and it burst open, splashing blood everywhere. Screaming in agony, I tugged at my chains with what little strength I had left. I didn't want to look. My mind wouldn't be able to face the terror of whatever creature was clawing its way out of me. Zuri! Screamed my mother. Demonic squealing shrieked so loud from the beast that the sound almost shattered my senses. I closed my eyes tightly. I didn't want to see the monster. I'd die of shock if I laid my eyes on this demon. The weight of a full-grown boar was suffocating me. Then, with one giant leap from my torso, the beast relieved me of its load. I opened my eyes and saw my belly heal instantly, as if it were a gate from hell sealing shut. I pissed myself. This wasn't reality. I was in hell. I died and gone to hell. What other explanation could there be?
We call upon you, Almighty Hog. Take us to paradise and slaughter all those who doubted your glory, said the man. Finally, I gazed at the creature that had just come out of me. A massive, overly muscled humanoid hog, at least 10 feet tall, stood in the center of the room. It had long fangs with lower tusks the size of my forearms. The beast's eyes were pitch black, and the fur covering its body was blood red. The smell of it made me want to vomit. My mother was terrified beyond reason. She cowered in the corner she was chained to, gazing at the monster in horror and disbelief. We summoned the power! We control the power! Shouted Bart, reaching his arms out for the beast. The pig monster began to glow, stomping its feet on the ground, shaking the entire house. It suddenly raised its head and unleashed a deafening squeal. A shockwave of energy burst from its body, killing Bart, his parents, and the SWAT team on the other side of the door. Soon, the entire place exploded, destroying all life
and structures for at least a mile. I gazed at the night sky and stars, something I hadn't seen in a year. The moon was red, and it seemed to be crumbling away bit by bit. Amid everything that was destroyed, my mother and I were left unharmed. Blood began to rain from the sky. Cries of pain and torment rang loud as far as I could hear. The chains that bound me disintegrated, relieving me of my bondage, which allowed me to shoot up to my feet and run to my mother's side. The beast eyeballed me the entire time, its stench growing ever more repugnant. I embraced my mother tightly. We gasped as the demon hog walked toward us. Our hearts sank as the earth shook with its every step. Fear had me so paralyzed that I couldn't move. I couldn't even blink. The monster sniffed us, reached out, and placed its right hoof on my face. It caressed my cheek slowly. Words left my mind. My mother and I squeezed each other as the beast drew its blood and snot-covered nose toward us. With my body shaking, I stared into the eyes of the monster as it opened its mouth to speak. The beast gazed at me and said one unfathomable word in a childlike tone. Ma.